It started with fire. Damien's crew safe house on 81st went up in flames just after 2 a.m. No sirens, no rescue. Just ash and a charred message scrawled on the wall. This ain't yours. Bone. Damien stood in front of Vega's desk, the scent of smoke still clinging to his hoodie. Vega wasn't angry, he was amused. You thought Bone would roll over? This ain't corporate mergers, Damien. You burn his man, take his drop spots, now he's burning you back. That's the rhythm of this business. Damien's jaw tightened. I'm not playing defense. Good, because Bone's next move is going to hit closer than a warehouse. He slid a photo across the desk. Damien's blood iced over. It was Maya. Bone's got eyes on everyone you touch, Damien. That's leverage. Handle it, or I'll handle it my way. Vega's way was scorched earth. Damien couldn't let Maya get caught in the middle. Damien knocked, urgency in every movement. Maya opened the door, expression guarded. You shouldn't be here, D. Bone's watching you. He's coming for you to get to me. Maya folded her arms. Told you how this ends. Damien stepped inside. Not for you. You're leaving tonight. Maya's resistance softened when she saw Damien's eyes. There was no bravado, no charm, only desperation. Milwaukee? Not yet. I got a spot upstate. Reese will drive you. Damien handed her a burner phone. You don't call me unless it's life or death, understand? Maya's lips trembled. When did we become these people, D? Damien didn't answer. There wasn't time for regrets. Damien knocked, urgency in every movement. Maya opened the door, expression guarded. You shouldn't be here, D. Bone's watching you. He's coming for you to get to me. Maya folded her arms. Told you how this ends. Damien stepped inside. Not for you. You're leaving tonight. Maya's resistance softened when she saw Damien's eyes. There was no bravado, no charm, only desperation. Milwaukee? Not yet. I got a spot upstate. Reese will drive you. Damien handed her a burner phone. You don't call me unless it's life or death, understand? Maya's lips trembled. When did we become these people, D? Damien didn't answer. There wasn't time for regrets. Back in the safe house, Damien gathered Smoke, Juno, and Reese. Bone's supply lines were still strong. Damien knew cutting the head off would be a long game, but if he hit Bone's stash hub, he'd suffocate his cash flow. Reese said, Bone's got a stash spot under the old Tremont boxing gym. He's got 5, maybe 6 men rotating security. Smoke cracked his knuckles and said, we hit him quick, in and out. Juno smiled, wicked, and added, no guns, we go in surgical. Bone won't even hear it till it's empty. Damien nodded and said, tonight we cut his heart out. The gym was a fortress, but every fortress has a back door. Damien's crew breached through the abandoned locker rooms, gas masks on. Smoke had rigged a tear gas canister as an opener. Chaos unfolded. Bone's men staggered out coughing, blinded. Damien and Juno moved through the smoke, precise and silent. Knives to throats, blunt strikes, no gunfire, no alarms. They found the stash in the basement, cash, product, and weapons. Damien gave the order, torch it all. Flames licked up the walls. Damien watched it burn. Later that night, Damien's burner lit up. Bone's voice came through, low and venomous. You're playing a grown man's game, kid. You think you got the stomach for this? Damien's reply was cold steel. Your money's ash, Bone. You're next. The line went dead. Vega poured himself a drink, watching the city lights from his office. One of his lieutenants entered. Kid's got balls. He's got more than that. He's got vision. But let's see if he's ready for the next weight. Damien stood on his apartment balcony watching the city hum. The war wasn't over, it was just beginning. But something inside him had shifted. This wasn't about survival anymore, it was about domination. The weight had settled on his shoulders, and he was starting to like how it felt. Nightfall. The city breathed heavy. Tension curled in every alley on every block. Damien knew the streets were watching him now, not as Vega's apprentice, not as some upstart, but as a man pushing Bone into a corner. And a cornered man bites. Scene cut, Vega's office. You forced his hand. Bone's gonna come at you hard. No more subtle moves. He's going to try and erase you. Damien leaned forward. Let him come. We're ready. That's why I like you. But here's the real question. Is your crew ready? That sat heavy in the air. Damien had Smoke, Juno, Reese, but war demanded loyalty paid in blood. Damien called his people to an abandoned church on 49th. No lieutenants, no middlemen, just family. The pews were filled, corner boys, drivers, muscle, faces he grew up with, faces he couldn't afford to lose. He stood where the altar once was, the stained glass windows casting jagged colors on his face. This ain't about Bone anymore. His voice was calm but every word cut. This is about us. About taking what's ours, not just scraps thrown from a table. Bone don't respect us, Vega's given us a window, but what we take next we gotta take with force. He looked at Smoke, Juno, Reese. They stood beside him, his spine. This is your out. Anyone who ain't ready to bleed for this, walk now. No one moved. Damien pulled a blade from his waistband. Without flinching, he sliced his palm, blood dripping onto the cold church floor. A war ain't fought with words, it's fought with oaths. This is mine. One by one, Smoke, Juno, Reese and the others followed, cutting palms, sealing a bond the streets would respect. It wasn't theatrics, it was a covenant. As Damien's people swore allegiance, Bone struck. Bone's hitters hit a small trap house Damien had just taken over. But this time, Damien had a surprise. Inside, Juno waited. Bone's crew kicked the door in, and met the business end of a sawed-off. The ambush was brutal. No mercy. Bone's soldiers were left zip-tied and bloodied, a message carved into the wall with a blade. We built this. D. Back in the safe house, Damien stood over a map of the city. Bone's on his heels. He's pulling his crews tight, makes him predictable. Smoke lit a blunt, eyes sharp. We hit his last stash spot, we'll force him into the open. But Damien wasn't rushing. Not yet. We make him think we're done, let him breathe, then we take his head. Damien sat alone, dialing the burner. It rang once, then twice. There was a pause, and Maya's voice came through, sounding kind of wary. "Deep. Why are you calling?" Damien replied, his voice steady. "Wanted you to know I'm still breathing." There was a long pause, then Maya's voice, softer now, said, "You're not the man I knew, Damien." Damien answered, "I'm becoming the man I have to be." Maya's silence spoke volumes, but before she hung up she whispered, "Just don't lose your soul in the process." Damien looked at his bloody bandaged hand and said, "That's the cost, Maya." Bone sat in his hideout, rage simmering just beneath the surface. His right-hand man, Knox, paced the room and said, "He's pushing too far, Bone, he's making you look weak." Bone's eyes were cold as he replied, "Weak? Nah, I'm just setting the trap. Kid thinks he's a king, but every king bleeds." Bone picked up his phone, dialing a number. "Time to bring in the wolves," he said. The wolves didn't wear colors, they didn't ride in packs or spray tags on walls. They were professionals, mercs who lived in shadows, the kind Bone paid when bodies needed to disappear quietly. But Damien wasn't planning on going quietly. Vega set a dossier on his desk, photos, intel, names. The wolves are ex-military. Bone emptied his war chest to bring them in. They don't care about turf, respect or codes, just checks. Damien flipped through the photos. Cold eyes stared back. Killers. Vega poured 2 glasses of whiskey but Damien didn't drink. "This is where most men fold, Damien. You sure you want to keep walking this path?" Damien's answer was instant. "I didn't come this far to bow out." "Then walk tall, kid. But don't ever think the wolves play fair." The wolves struck fast. Damien's courier, Lil Rico, was ambushed on 63rd while moving a cash drop. No gunfire, no witnesses. Just a pool of blood and an empty duffel bag left in the street. An hour later, Reese's safe house was raided. The place was gutted, products stolen, data wiped clean. They were surgical, efficient, and they were sending a message. No one was untouchable. Smoke, Juno, and Reese sat around a dimly lit table. Damien paced, tension just radiating off him. "They're not hitting us like Bone's corner boys. This is a different level. They think we're soft. We need to hit back, loud." Damien stopped pacing. "No, that's what they want. They're professionals, but they don't know these streets. That's our edge." He pointed to a city map. "We choke them, starve their intel, block their exits. They want clean kills. We give them dirty streets." The wolves were methodical. Reese fed them false intel. Word of a high-value product run through an abandoned train yard. Damien's crew set the trap. Fog rolled in heavy that night. Juno perched on a shipping container, blade just gleaming. Smoke crouched behind a derailed boxcar, Alaska in hand. Damien waited near the tracks, calm, heartbeat steady. The wolves moved in, silent, tight formation. But Damien's crew knew the terrain. This wasn't open combat. This was their turf. Juno struck first, silent, deadly. One wolf down. Smoke opened fire, forcing the remaining mercs into cover, but Damien flanked them, moving through shadows, striking with brutal precision. The wolves were skilled, but the chaos of the streets wasn't their element. Damien's crew fought dirty, blades in ribs, bricks to skulls. Within minutes, 3 of Bones' mercs lay broken on the cold steel tracks. The rest fled into the night. Damien stood over a captured wolf, beaten, bloodied, but alive. "You came into my city thinking you could play God. Go back to Bone. Tell him kings don't kneel." He let the man crawl away, every step a broadcast of Damien's defiance. Bone hurled a glass against the wall, shattering it. Nox stood tense. The wolves weren't ready for street warfare. "Vega's kid is smarter than we thought." Bone's rage was volcanic. "I'm done with mercs, this war's going personal." He turned to Nox, eyes cold. "We're going to hit Damien where he's soft, his people." Upstate, Maya's burner phone vibrated. A message appeared. "They know where you are." Her heart dropped. The war had reached her doorstep. The war had no boundaries now. Bone's next move wasn't business, it was personal. Scene cut. Upstate safe house, 3 a.m. Maya's burner phone buzzed again. This time no text, just a video. It was a live feed. Grainy, shaky. Outside her safe house window, 2 men in dark hoodies stood by a car. One lit a cigarette, the other casually checked his pistol. Her blood ran cold. Before panic could set in, Reese's voice came through her second phone. "They're there, you need to move, now!" Maya didn't hesitate. She grabbed a go bag Damien had prepared. Cash, a weapon, fake IDs. She bolted out the back, heart pounding, but she wasn't alone. As she reached the woods, a figure blocked her path. Tall, lean with cold eyes. One of Bone's wolves. End of the line, sweetheart. But Maya wasn't defenseless. Damien had taught her. She pulled the small pistol from her waist and fired. The wolf staggered, clutching his shoulder as Maya sprinted into the woods. Scene cut. Damien's apartment. Reese barged in, breathless. They went after Maya. She's safe for now, but it's begun, D. Bone's not playing chess anymore. This is street-level war. Damien's fists clenched, knuckles white. Smoke entered with a fresh report. Bone hit one of our crews on 89th. 2 dead, 1 missing. He's bleeding us, Damien. Damien's voice was ice. Then we bleed him back. Damien, Smoke, Juno, and Reese gathered around the map of the city once again. But this time Damien's strategy had shifted. He wasn't thinking territory, he was thinking vengeance. We've been playing by street rules, Bone just broke them. He pointed to Bone's personal money launderer, a small-time club owner named Marlowe. "We hit Marlowe tonight. Bone's cash dries up, his war ends. But this time no finesse. We send a message." The club throbbed with bass, lights flashed, but Damien's crew moved like ghosts. Smoke and Juno entered through the front, guns hidden but ready. Reese cut the power from an alley switch box. The club plunged into darkness. Screams echoed. Damien found Marlowe in the VIP section, cowering behind a table. "Tell Bone his war just got expensive," Damien said, grabbing Marlowe by the collar. They dragged Marlowe outside, stripped him of his jewelry and phone, and left him duct-taped to a lamppost with a sign hanging around his neck. "Bone can't protect you." The retaliation was swift. The next morning, Damien found a package on his doorstep. Inside, photos of Nox, Bone's right hand, bound and executed. But Damien hadn't sent anyone after Nox. Vega had. A note lay beneath the photos. "You're not the only one playing this game, kid. V." Damien stormed into Vega's office. "You hit Nox without telling me." Vega replied, "You're fighting a war, Damien. I'm winning it." Damien shot back. "You just painted a target on my back bigger than before." Vega leaned in, his tone lethal. "You're in this deep, kid. Don't act like you still got clean hands." Damien wanted to argue, but deep down he knew Vega was right. This was the cost of rising. Later that night, Damien sat alone in his apartment staring at his bloodied hands. He dialed Maya. She answered. "You still breathing?" Damien replied. "Barely." Maya said, "You can still walk away, Damien." Damien looked out at the city skyline. "No, Maya, I can't. The weight's too heavy now." Silence hung in the air. Damien continued, "I'm not calling to say sorry. I'm calling to say, when this ends I'll be free, one way or another." Maya's voice softened. Just don't let them take your soul before it's over. Bone sat in a dim-lit basement, pacing. Knox was dead, his cash flow strangled, his pride wounded. But Bone wasn't broken. He had one play left: bring the family. If Damien wants a throne, let's see how he handles a funeral.